All right, so we just had Tyler Jensen on the show. What an incredible show. We talk about breaking through and flipping houses in 7 days, flipping not only one, but 4 houses in 7 days. We talk about surrounding yourself with the right team and being the visionary, growing to that role and taking that step from leaving his full-time job as an accountant into a full-time house flipper, and just everything's built into it. Just, you got to dive in here. We haven't had a house flipper on in a while, but we got the right one today. So Tyler Jensen, he's an avid real estate investor, international house flipper, philanthropist, coach, husband, and father to 3 amazing boys. He's been flipping houses for more than 10 years and all the way back to college. Loves real estate, gets satisfaction from old dumpy crack houses like we just talked about. One of the houses that he did in 7 days was a meth house. He's built a great business, is one of the best flipping companies in the country, and he's part of a great group, 7-figure flipping, so I know that's the case. He coaches others, and he loves pursuing the dreams and passions of real estate. He's coordinated several charity projects, both locally and internationally, from donating a rehab to a single-family mom for Christmas to building houses in the Dominican Republic. He's truly a go-giver. You're going to really enjoy this episode. I learned a ton, as I always do, and I can't wait for you guys to hear what he brings. All right, so here we are, Jason and Peely Project. We are super excited. We have made it happen. The impossible has happened. We have connected finally. Tyler Jensen, we have on the show. Hey, Tyler, how you doing?
What's up, man? I know, 3rd time's the charm. We've tried twice before. We had technical issues, and anyway, so I'm glad to be finally on here.
Good. Well, we're excited to have you. So Tyler's coming to us from Salt Lake City. We were trying to get this before because you were doing this awesome series. You were doing 4 flips in 7 days, and now it's a YouTube series out there. And I was sitting there, I was like, man, how are we doing this? And it's pretty crazy, but you guys made it happen, which I just knew you would. So tell us about where that started, the evolution of the idea, and what you did throughout the process.
Yeah, totally. So in last August, so a year ago, we did a 7-day flip. So it was a $40,000 rehab in 7 days. And so that's kind of where it started, is that I always wanted to do, I'm like, hey, why are these flips taking 6 months and 8 months? And I'm sure you and Peely can relate because you guys have been there, you've flipped houses, like, you know that it just takes forever, right? And so we wanted to just change that. And I said, hey, it shouldn't take 6 months. If we have enough manpower, how can we do it in 7 days? So that was the first one. We did the first one in 7 days. Then we did 2 more after that in 7 days. And then we're like, hey, we came across these properties that were perfect for it. And my project manager came up to me and he's like, hey, what if we flipped all 4 of these? They were right next door to each other. And so he's like, what if we did all 4 of these in 7 days?
What makes a perfect house? Just because I know someone's going to say, what kind of house is that they're doing in 7 days?
So we did these, there were 2 duplexes. So there were 2 different units, and they were right next door to each other. So the other ones, it was just a normal flip, right? We changed out utilities. On these 4 rehabs in 7 days, we had meth. So we had to deal with meth. We had to deal with, all of those things, utilities. We changed out furnaces. And so it was just, it's a normal flip for us. A normal flip is about $35,000 in my market. And yeah, we just said, hey, how do we condense this into 7 days? So the perfect property is really one that, you don't have foundation issues, and you don't have a lot of that kind of stuff that you have to deal with. But we wanted to make sure that we were pushing the limit. And so we said, it doesn't matter what the house is, we can do it in 7 days.
Yeah, it's awesome. We can't even get an inspection in 2 weeks here. So
I know.
Takes out the narrative.
Yeah, so we just said, hey, we want to try this out. So we set it all up. We planned it during escrow when the houses, we were just getting ready to close on them. And so we planned it out. We had everything organized and set up, and then we started, and then 7 days we flipped 4 houses. So it was pretty nuts, but it was a lot of fun.
What's the biggest learning lesson you took away from the experience?
Man, I encourage everyone to try a 7-day flip because you really understand what's working well in your business. And what, when the first idea, I wanted to see the wheels fall off and just, this science experiment just crash, because I wanted to be able to see what was going wrong in our business, how we could be more efficient, how we can control our materials better, just all of that stuff. And then the first one went flawlessly. It was perfect. We couldn't have planned it any better. It was just awesome. And so what I learned is that, my team stepped up, and it's getting that buy-in, right? Because doing a 7-day flip, everyone's like, that's impossible. You can't do that. It's crazy. Why would you ever want to even try that? And then getting my guys buy-in, and then knowing that they were loyal to us and say, yeah, we could do this. And it just created a ton of momentum. And then it also helped us, like, we really looked at our materials and we could control our costs better. We could control our time better. Our holding costs went down. So all of those things put together, we saved a ton of money. We just became a lot more efficient, and it kind of took our business to the next level, because now we were like, hey, we're really good at this. Now we can use it as a tool, and we can flip these houses in 7 days whenever we want.
Yeah, most businesses think they have systems in place, right? And they say, okay, this is our core process, but it's never really put to the test, right? So this is what we do on a day-to-day, but when you have to do that on a point where you're taking a 7-day flip, which most people, I'll say maybe for you is taking, like on average, maybe before it was taking 60 days or 45 days or something. And you say, well, what happens then? And well, you throw it all out there and you see what sticks and what comes back. How have you now moved that model into what you're doing currently? Are you trying to do multiple here? Because I'm sure, the one part that I saw a lot of flippers really fail at is that they're like, yeah, I know how much I bought the house for. I know how much it costs to fix, but you forget about, the cost of money, the time you have it out there, everything else, change in market dynamics. And, when you do it in 7 days, you're now rapidly in control of all the outside factors that usually, especially new flippers miss out to think about.
Yeah, totally. And that's what we wanted to control, right? We wanted to take away all the variables and say, hey, what can we control? And that's really what it was, is that it was just these systems that we had created. And we said, we're going to throw out that idea that it takes 60 days to do a rehab, and we're going to organize it. So a quick example on that, we got a U-Haul truck, and we had all the materials in this U-Haul truck, and we stacked it by day. So day 1 was at the back. So as soon as you opened up the thing, you had day 1, and then day 2, and then day 7 was at the front of the truck, right? The last things that we pulled out. And so just those little things on being organized, and we killed Home Depot runs. You know that Home Depot runs will kill a project, right? A contractor might leave, and 2 hours later, they're still at Home Depot. So we banned Home Depot runs. We got rid of lunch breaks. We catered lunch. All of those little things, but they added up to a huge difference, right? We just really planned it out. And so we don't do every flip in 7 days now. We do some, right? We'll do, if it makes sense, hey, let's do this, or we need a turn, we've been holding it for too long or something, right? We'll do a flip in 7 days. But just the structure and the organization that we have now, we have standardized pricing that all came from our 7-day flip. So we know exactly how much a rehab is going to cost. We know a time frame. We have a Gantt chart now that we can control and stack our contractors on when they need to be there. And we can have at least 2 or 3 people working on the house at the same time.
What's the Gantt chart? Just, I haven't heard.
Gantt chart is just like a timeline. It breaks down the project. So we call them job layers. And so you have demo and utilities and stuff like that. And it just controls when those are going to get done. And so that's the Gantt chart. And we have a good scope of work. Then we have, and quality was a huge thing for us too. I didn't want to do it really fast and just have it be a hot mess. We wanted to put out a good product at the end of the day. So we controlled those 3 variables, right? We controlled the budget, we controlled the time, and we controlled the quality of work. If any new flippers out there, if you can control those 3 things, how long it takes, your budget on your rehab, if you can control it and not kill it and spend twice as much as you had planned on, then you'll make money. And then also, if you're putting out a good high quality, then your product's going to sell for more money. So if you control those 3 things, that's what the main idea of the flip, the 7-day flip was: time, budget, quality. And that's what we said, hey, we're going to control all 3 of those, make sure that we're on point for all of them. And it's just really helped our business going forward, because now we understand that.
A lot of products that are made, if it's done quickly, they assume cheap, right? Assume poor quality. But what you look at it is that there's so much wasted time in the middle, right? So you basically took a calendar and said, okay, here's my calendar. And this can be on any business. Instead of just focusing on the one part, this takes 3 hours to do this. You said, well, where's all the in-betweens, right? So if it's running to Home Depot, it's the 25 minutes out for lunch, and on this point back, hitting traffic, all these other points. And you condensed the calendar into a way here where you took out all the quote unquote, we'll call them excuses, I don't have a better word, but reasons why time can be wasted in the day.
Yeah, totally. And we just got rid of all that, right? Because if I let my guys go for lunch, they would be gone for an hour and a half, and they'd smoke and they'd BS, and then they'd, all of that. And we calculated the time that it would take to send 20 guys to lunch every day, right? And we spent $1,000 in catering, and we probably would have lost probably 5 or 6 grand just on wasted time. And so you're exactly right. Like we thought of all those variables, and we said, hey, Parkinson's law says, if we give it 7 days, we're going to make it happen in 7 days. And that's what we did. So we just kind of took out all the waste, right? We just made it really lean and really efficient.
Did you look at the narrative of, holding costs and everything else in there for 7 days versus your usual flip of, 45 or 60, how much was saved?
Yeah, it was substantial. And even on all of, holding costs, and for 4 properties, the holding cost is about $100 a day. So for us, we were in at $700 maybe in holding costs versus 60 days. I don't know the math on that, but it was probably 5 grand we saved just on an average holding cost. And so, yeah, it was awesome. And so we saved that money. We saved in labor. Our contractors were getting paid for the same work that it would have taken them 6 weeks to do, and they were getting paid in a week. And so they were stacked. Hey, look, this is awesome. I'm going to come in and get paid for a week of, work, and I busted, and I get paid that same week. So it was just really cool all around, cool experience.
Yeah, where do people find the series? What's the series called?
Oh, yeah, so the series, we made a documentary on YouTube. And so we launched it like a TV show. So it's on YouTube. It's in the 7-Figure Flipping channel. And if you check it out, maybe I'll send you a link or something and you can post it in the show notes. But check it out. It's really cool. You get to see, it's not HGTV, right? It's not, we're going to stage it with $20,000 of furniture and we're not going to have any interviews and everything is just PG, right? It's real. It's real. You get to follow.
What people need to see, because on that point they jump in there and assume, and lots of times they over rehab a property, right? So you can't over rehab a property there that doesn't fit the neighborhood just because you put more in it. That doesn't mean people are just going to show up to pay you more than outside that market.
Totally. So that's HGTV kind of plays that role that everything is just grand and it works out really well. And you see the issues, right? We had to deal with meth. We had some issues. Skeletons came out of the closet. We had some mold that we had no idea about until we opened up the floor. And just a lot of that stuff, you get to see my team work and you get to see how, we deal with these issues. We had to fire 2 people in the middle of the week for smoking weed, and just all of this crazy stuff happens that you don't really see on those reality TV shows of on HGTV. So this is real, it's raw. You just get to follow my team on a high efficiency flipping company.
I love it. And so I'm going to assume that you're not doing the work here.
No, I'm kind of just the visionary. I cater and I do Home Depot runs and I kind of just make sure that it's all moving forward. But my project manager takes a bulk of that work and he makes sure that he's kind of the integrator role and he's making sure. So yeah, I just came to hang out and do Facebook Lives. That was my job. So
yeah, and that's the lesson there, is that there's lots of time. That part of the process is the most difficult, right? Creating the process and building it out and the time it takes to implement that and really just put yourself in the works. And while that's grueling, you're able to then now get to the point where you are to look back at the operation and say, okay, now let's put the operation to the test and grow the operation, because you're not standing there in the middle. And that, I've been that bottleneck before. I've seen people be that bottleneck where, hey Tyler, we're missing, one handle for the cabinet. You're running out to Home Depot or something, from that point, then you're gone, and then they miss something that goes through there, and we create that. But when you can take yourself out and allow people to do the work and allow them to really, do what they're supposed to do instead of being that person who's trying to control it. I mean, you can do a flip in 7 days, or you can do 4 flips in 7 days, right? So not just one, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it worked out really well, is that my team had already bought in. They said, yeah, we could do this. We're going to make it happen regardless. Yeah. We had a fun little competition there were 2 crews. And so I took a crew, my project manager took a crew. We had this fun competition. And it was just really cool because I didn't have to be there. I probably could have not shown up the whole time and it would have been out with the same result. And so that's just really building a good team, surrounding yourself by good people that can see your vision. And it's hard as a visionary sometimes to make that happen, because I live 50,000 feet above the clouds, right? I'm always looking for the next thing and how do we do things bigger, better, faster. And it was just really cool to get my team on board to say, hey, look, we see the vision. We see that we could flip 4 houses in 7 days, and we're going to make that dream come into a reality. So
I love it.
Yeah, just make sure you surround yourself with the right people and that they can kind of catch that vision and go places that you want to go.
So going forward, we got a cool event coming up following this, which Peely and I have been to in the past. It's really dynamic. You know, it's Flip Hacking Live, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Cool.
So Flip Hacking Live is awesome. It's one of the best events. So if you don't know what it is, it's 3 days of just full impact. Bill Allen is the CEO of Seven Figure Flipping. He puts on this event every year, and it's incredible. So we're going to talk about the 7-day flips, a lot about that. We've had a lot of people in this mastermind group that we're a part of that are trying 7-day flips. So we're coaching them, we're teaching them, we're showing them how they can do 7-day flips as well. So we've just had a ton of success with people that are coming to us and learning from us. And Flip Hacking Live is just an incredible, and you guys have been, right? You guys, I think, went to the first Flip Hacking Live, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just 3 days of full-on impact of the best house flippers and wholesalers in the country that are coming together, and they're sharing, they're opening up their businesses. You get to learn from them. You get to come, you get to ask me questions, you get to ask Bill Allen questions, like all these people who are doing really a lot of volume in flipping and wholesaling, and we share everything. We don't hold anything back. And so that's a really cool opportunity to be in that room, that you're with other investors and other people who are trying to grow their real estate business, and also that you have access to these people that have tried and failed and that have learned and have grown and have done 4 rehabs in 7 days. And you can ask me questions, or, you know, all these cool things. So yeah, I just want to put a plug in there for Flip Hacking Live because it's a really cool event, and it really changed my life. So 2 years ago, I went to Flip Hacking Live. I was in the audience and participating. And a year later, I was up on stage speaking, right? I had quit my job. I had a W-2 job. I was working as an accountant. And just within that year, that short time of going to Flip Hacking Live, and a year later, I was speaking on on stage at Flip Hacking Live. And then this year will be the same, right? It's going to be even bigger and better than what I was doing. So in 2 years, just that short amount of time, by going to Flip Hacking Live, by surrounding yourself with these incredible people like you. I remember when I first joined this group, you guys were like the rock stars. It was Billy and Jason, and
well, I appreciate that. We got a lot of lessons we can learn from you guys, but yeah, thank you for that.
It was awesome. So just being in the room with people like you that could see the vision and wanted more and wanted to be able to grow their businesses really kind of took that ceiling off for me, and that limiting beliefs and that potential that I didn't think I really had. And so it was just a cool experience, right? Going to Flip Hacking Live, hanging out with you guys, all of that stuff has really changed the way I do business now and the way I think.
You know what these events are just so magical for is that you get that feeling, you know, so lots of times you see the beginning or the end, right? And so in that part you see the end, like you know, Bill Allen, he's been on the show twice, and I remember Bill was just starting out, he was doing like 1 or 2 houses, and all of a sudden he's doing 150. But what you got to see, and probably even more now, but you saw the evolution of the steps they took, you know, the things that just didn't work. And that's sometimes the most important, right? Because what you find from these masterminds and these groups and these collectives is that the lesson of how to do it is great, but learning the lesson that letting other people, quote unquote, make the mistake first, so we can all learn, and you keep passing that along. That's just, it's so big in life and in others, right? Because you can see these paths, and as long as you're not fighting the narrative and you go with it and just say, well, this is what other people are doing, how can I align this with my business, right? Because you see this of people that are in the 7-figure flipping group. The process is not far off on most people, right? Because, well, why? Well, the process works. So just take the process, see how it forms your business, use the process, grow with the process, and you go from where you are to now you're saying you're sitting in the seat as an accountant to now leaving that job, going in full time, you know, and within a couple of years now we're flipping houses in 7 days. I mean, like, pretty cool, right? Pretty darn cool.
Totally. And that's really the best part about these things, is that really just, if more than anything, it just gives you that self-confidence that you can do it. Right?
Yeah.
No one had ever done that I knew of, right, was doing 4 houses in 7 days. And so, you know, we kind of broke that barrier, and now other people are taking it that are in the group and saying, yeah, it's totally possible, right? I could totally flip 150 houses. That still sounds crazy to me, right? But having that belief there, right, is cool, because you're able to see these guys. Well, how did he do 150? That's crazy. Like, I was doing 10 a year and I thought I was a big deal, you know, and then you get with these guys and they're like, oh, 10, I did that last week, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was done 2.5 weeks ago. So, dude, this has been awesome. I've loved it, man. So super appreciate you coming on. For everyone who wants to learn more about you, of course, you can find a YouTube series under the 7-Figure Flipping channel. You can find Flip Hacking Live. It will be on the 7-Figure website, but also Flip Hacking Live. Where can they connect with you, learn more about you?
Facebook, our company is called Utah House Flip, so follow us on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, look me up, Tyler Jensen on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, it's Utah House Flip is our company. You can see we're doing a few more 7-day flips, so if you want to follow along, we do Facebook Lives and we'll put it on YouTube, stuff like that. So you can follow along with other 7-day flips. You can see our past 7-day flips. But yeah, reach out to us. We'd love to help you out any way that we can. But Jason, thank you, man. Like, I know that it's been a challenge to be on the show. And
Not at all.
I really look up to you and your wife. You guys are incredible. You guys were part of that reason that helped me kind of break that barrier. And I think we met, my first event was in Baltimore or something. And I think that's where I got to actually shake your hand. And you guys have just been huge mentors to me. And I really appreciate you guys and look up to you and honored to be on your show. So thank you.
We all rise together, man. So this was great. I really enjoyed this. This was super cool. So thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. All right. Bye now.
Join us for your second cup of coffee every Monday through Friday at noon.
Live every day, bringing us our best content we've done so far. Super excited, super engaging, bunch of great guests. We're here to answer your questions, and we so appreciate you listening. Make sure to check this out.
Can't wait to see you.